This may very well be one of the most valuable Facebook ad videos you will ever see here on YouTube completely for free, where I'm laying out A to Z all the strategies that I've been using to generate over $1 million with Facebook ads this year alone, and showing you the ad account and every single little thing. No BS, no fluff, and I've even made sure to put no ads in this video at all so you can enjoy this video, learn from it, and utilize this here in the new year of 2021. What's going on, everybody? Tanner here with another video. Hope you're all having an amazing and productive day so far. It is a new year, it is 2021, and I'm wishing you guys the best. I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish this year, and one of those things is helping you guys with your Facebook ads. So after spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in 2020 on Facebook ads, I've grouped together the best strategies that I've used and put them here on my computer, where we're going to be running through them and showing you guys step by step exactly what I've done and what kind of results I've gotten by actually showing an ad account that I've been working on recently that's generated over $200,000 in just the last 30 days alone. So here in the last 30 days, I'll refresh this ad account for you real quick. You can see that we have spent over $61,000 and brought back close to $260,000 with an average 4.21 ROAS. So all the strategies that we're going to be going through here on this doc here in a second are all being used on this ad account. So some of this stuff will relate here later on in the video, but there's a lot of stuff we have to cover, and I don't want to waste any of your guys' time. So let's go ahead and get into all the strategies that I have, all the way from testing a product to analyzing the results to then skyrocketing your sales by using my scaling strategies. Let me just show you a quick peek here on this ad account lifetime, and you can see these results. So these strategies do work. There's no BS here. I don't want to be like the people that just make videos about something they don't even know about. Maybe they just watch a YouTube video like this and just pretty much copy all the content. This is what I actually do for a living. I've spent a lot of money on Facebook ads, and I want to show you guys how you can do the same thing, because there's so much money out there. And I know right now there's already going to be comments about the whole thing going on with iOS 14 and Facebook ads and FTC and all that stuff going on. That's a whole separate video in itself talking about that. But to keep it simple, I think things are going to turn out just fine. We may lose some features and some accessibility here in the Facebook Ads Manager, but overall, as entrepreneurs, we just have to adapt and overcome. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, and continue to update you guys on things that do happen with Facebook ads here within the next several months. But let's go ahead and hop onto this Google Doc and go through all of these strategies that I've put together and show you guys how things are working. So I know this may look a little bit confusing right now, but I promise it'll all make sense very, very soon. This is the Google Doc I've spent a lot of time creating, where I lay out each of my strategies step by step that I've used to take a store literally from 0 to 10K a day, all the way from testing the product, analyzing the data, and then skyrocketing your sales with my scaling strategy. So we're going to be going through all of these right now here, step by step for you, answering all of your questions that you may have about Facebook ads, and giving you guys the true blueprint of what it takes to take a product from nothing to over $1 million in sales. So the first thing we're going to start off here is with the triple shot product test. So this is a product testing strategy I've used over and over and over and seen success with, because we're attacking our potential customers, from multiple angles, instead of just doing, initial basic test and not seeing results. That's the common thing you see with dropshippers is, hey, I'm not making sales. What am I doing wrong? So there's a lot of reasons you may not be making sales, but by using this testing strategy, you're giving yourself a lot better odds of actually making sales and consistent sales than if you were to just do a very basic testing strategy. So let's go ahead and get started. So pretty much what we're doing is making a campaign and using ad set level budgets. I love to use ad set level budgets as like a framework, your groundwork, and then scaling with CBO campaigns. I would say honestly though, a majority of my daily sales on my stores and profit comes from ad set level budgets. I love them. They've continued to work really, really well for me, and I don't think I'll ever stop using them unless they get rid of them. They said they were a while ago, but that never ended up happening. They got too much backlash from advertisers. So after you have a campaign, you're going to be taken to your ad set, and that's where you're going to set up the targeting, budget, and all that good stuff. So as far as the budget goes, I say here to use a budget based on your product's margin. So if you're selling something for $20, I would not put your daily budget on this ad set at $20, because it's going to spend that full thing within a day, and you're not really giving your ad account and pixel time to optimize and find the right audience for you. So if you're selling something for $20 a day, I would recommend a $5 a day budget, so it'll spend pretty much throughout 2 full days to optimize and get the results that you want to see, whether that's sales or just some indicators that we'll talk about here very, very soon. But I typically don't go above $20 a day for my ad set level budgets, even if it's a product, selling for $100 or more. 20 is just the sweet spot that I've seen But if you're running something, cheaper than $50 that you're selling, then I would most definitely recommend, a $5 or $10 a day budget. Those tend to work really well. But in your first ad set, I always go no interest at all. So let's actually scroll down here very quick to my ad set requirements, just some things that I do in my targeting campaigns to make sure that everything is set up properly. So no breakdowns whatsoever. Even if you're selling, let's say leggings, that's a product for women, typically men aren't going to be buying leggings. You would think theoretically, all right, I'm going to target women only because that's going to get me the best results. But I have seen the best results just letting Facebook take over, do its job when testing a product. No breakdowns by age, gender, anything like that. Just keeping it as simple as possible. And the detailed targeting expansion box there, I always have that checked. I was told when I was first learning several years ago not to check that box, but I started doing it over a year ago and saw really consistent results. The main difference I would say with having it checked and unchecked is the longevity of your actual ad set itself. The next thing is here, optimizing for purchases. Of course, I never optimize for view content, add to cart. Anything else, I just, I want sales, so I optimize for sales, and that's what I get, sales. And then as far as actually scheduling your ads, if your ad account time zone, if it's past 4 p.m. when you're launching this campaign, then I would go ahead and just schedule it for midnight, because let's say you set up this campaign at 4 p.m. and, it gets approved at 6 and starts spending, it's going to spend that entire budget, within those last hours of the day, when I would much rather have my, ad spend throughout an entire day, so, the pixel and ad account can sort of find the right audience throughout, whatever the best time is during the day for that product specifically. The next thing, target countries that you can ship to effectively during these times. So typically when I'm testing a product, I'm just starting out in the United States for right now. Their shipping times are going to be the best that way. I know Canada, it can be super expensive to ship there right now, but just check in with your supplier or, whoever you're using for fulfillment. But, an option around that is always to just charge for shipping. So typically what I'll do is have, free shipping and then an expedited shipping option for several dollars extra. You just need to figure out how much it's going to cost you before you set that pricing. So back here to the actual ad sets, like I said, always starting off no interest. So pretty much what that means is nothing in your detailed targeting at all. So the next ad set I would say is brand related. So let's say you're selling a phone case, OtterBox. So OtterBox is going to be a phone case brand. So I would use that, just brand related. I always like to just throw one of those in there. And then ad sets 3 to 5. Do a couple of more here. So you're going to do buyer's mindset. So, for phone case, I put a few things down here we'll get into in a second, but, technology, iPhone, gaming, basic things like that are very broad audiences. I would say nowadays with Facebook ads, you want to have a bigger size audience, much more broad, so that Facebook can sort of just pick and choose and find the right audience and then continue to target those people with your ads. So this first campaign here is going to be just a single ad creative using an image. It doesn't really matter what your product is. The reason of using an image will make sense here when we get into these other campaigns, but just using an image of your product with no text overlay. So what I mean by that is, not having a bunch of text just all over the image. Facebook might flag that anyways and limit your performance, but just in general, a clean image of your product being used or the product alone. So after this campaign's up, now you're going to have one campaign with 5 ad sets in it, doing some cold targeting with an image ad. So the next step is going to be very, very simple for the rest of this triple shot strategy, where you're duplicating that original campaign 1, but instead of using an image ad, you're going to be using a video. So replace that image with a video and use the same ad copy. So everything's the same except for the actual content of the ad. So same targeting, literally everything. You're just duplicating the campaign and replacing that image with the video, and then publish. And then the third campaign is going to be an image carousel. So again, you're using the same copy, but you're just replacing that image or video, whichever campaign you duplicate, with the carousel. So if you don't know what a carousel is, it's pretty much just a slideshow on Facebook that's dynamic to the app, where it displays multiple images and pretty much just use different images of your product and make sure to link them there with the call to action button. So publish that, and now you have 3 campaigns up, each with 5 ad sets cold targeting. So everything's the same with these campaigns except for the creative. So I know a common question here for this strategy itself is going to be, why not just put every single creative under the original ad sets? So my main explanation for that is because if you put 3 ad creatives under one ad set, Facebook is not going to spend evenly across those creatives. To really see a result and split test different creatives, I always separate them by campaign. So that allows me to see all the metrics that I really want to see and see which creative is working the best. So scrolling down here, we've already gone through these ad set requirements, but a quick thing here is to stay organized. I know a lot of times, even today, this morning, I was on the phone with a student. He was showing me his ad account, And so many ad accounts that I see of people that I work with is their ad accounts are just so messy. I really have no idea what I'm looking at. So I'm a little OCD with my ad accounts, but I know it's something that's actually helped me keep track of my ads and to make sure that I'm not spending money on stuff that's not working or really not knowing what's what and if I'm doing something that I've already done. So just to use example like before of using a phone case, if I was using this triple shot testing strategy, this is exactly how my ad account would look after launching that strategy. So you have your campaign name, a phone case, whatever it's called, -cold, -USA, and then A1. So phone case, that would be where you put your product name. Cold is because we're doing cold targeting. And then USA is just, for example, if I was targeting only the USA. And then A1 standing for ad 1. And then pretty much when you're duplicating that, you just switch out A2 to A3. You really don't need to change anything else. And the names of your ad sets are very, very simple. I just use the name of whatever interest or targeting I'm using. So no interest, OtterBox, technology, iPhone, and gaming. And then the ad level, you want to name it A1 because typically I think it says like default ad whenever you're making a new campaign. So just put A1, A2, and A3. It's going to help you stay organized, especially if you end up looking at your account overview, which we'll get here into a second for analyzing. You'll be able to sort by purchase and see which ad creative is providing you with the best results. So now getting down here to the Bino ad analyzing. So sort of like binoculars, I like to keep an eye on everything at all times. So first things first here, set up your columns properly. So I'm going to show you that right now actually. So these right here are the columns on your actual ads manager where it shows you the exact data that you want to see. So I'm going to pull these columns up right here for you to see exactly how I have them set up. So you go here to customize columns and then just enter everything that I have here. If you want to copy mine, this is a setup I would really recommend for if you're running e-commerce. You'll see everything that I have. So delivery, ad set name, all the way down to everything else. So we'll just scroll down here slowly. You can, rewind it or pause it, whatever you need to do to set it up on your ads manager. But it shows me everything that I need to see from my amount spent to my conversion value all the way to my overall ROAS. So now that you have your columns set up properly, there are a couple of rules that I like to follow when I am actually running ads. So rule number one is don't let an ad set spend more than your break-even point before turning it off. So the break-even point is really just your profit margin on that product. So if you have a product with a margin of $20 and your ad set has spent 17, just go ahead and turn it off because it's most likely not going to make a sale. And especially in the testing phase, I like to be a little bit more strict just because, I don't want to spend a ton of money testing a product. I want to see results first and at least break even and see some sales coming in before I start turning a bunch of stuff off. But don't let your ad set spend more than break even point before turning it off. Rule 2, don't edit a profitable ad set in any way. This is a big mistake I see that sort of kills a lot of people's potential with their Facebook ads is, they have something with a 10 ROAS or 5 ROAS, 2 ROAS, whatever's good to them. And then, they just end up, changing the budget from $5 a day to $500 or $50. And it ends up just sort of killing what was working. So if I have an ad set that's working or CBO even, I don't touch it. I'll show you ways to, scale those things that are working here when we get to the scaling section. But just in general, you're testing a product, anything, don't edit a profitable ad set. So rule number 3 is don't let the CPM, CTR, or CPC dictate your decision in cutting ad sets. So if you don't know what these are, this is your cost per 1,000 impressions, your click-through rate, and your cost per link click. So what I mean by this, it can go in 2 ways. One way being, let's say it's spent close to your margin point, but it has a low CPM, a good click-through rate, and cheap cost per link click. Don't let that dictate your decision. If it's spent X amount of money and not gotten a sale, it's close to your margin, cut it off. In the same way, if your ad set is profitable and it's making sales, but you have a bad CPM, a bad CTR, don't let it dictate your decision. If it's making money, that's what really matters here. That's what you're aiming for. So those things are important in their own ways, but not enough to the point of, having your ad set on or off. Like I said, it can go both ways. Here we're actually getting now into stage 1 of actually analyzing your ads and what you need to do after you have these testing campaigns up for your product. So stage 1 is you have no sales at all. Your ads have just started running, or maybe they've been running for a while and you have no sales. You really just want to check the indicators to find your top performing ad creative. So use these things here, CPM, your click-through rate, and your cost per link click. I would say a good click-through rate is 2 to 5% typically. Sometimes it's a lot higher, sometimes it's a lot lower, depending on the product and the ad creative itself. But just see which one out of the 3 is working best. And what you can actually do is go into the campaign of the ad creative that's has these indicators performing the best, and then just launch some new interests at a different budget, scooped by $5. So if you're spending $5 a day, obviously you can't spend 0 a day. but try a $10 a day budget. Or if you're spending 20 a day, try a 15, try 25. Just a couple more ad sets in the campaign of that ad creative that's working the best. Typically doing this will start to bring you some different results, and not just bring in the same results that it has been bringing in. You can't do the same thing over and over and expect to get a different result. So what we're doing is just skewing the budget by a little bit and launching a few different ad sets with different interests in them. So the next thing obviously is turn off unprofitable ad sets. Don't get emotionally attached to a product. So if you're spending a lot of money on ads and it's not working, stop spending a lot of money on it if you want to try and keep working on it, or just move on to the next one. I would say with these strategies I'm showing you here, especially with this testing one, at least see some sales come in from testing a product pretty much every single time. But you don't want to get attached. You want to work on something that is working. So turn off unprofitable ad sets. My rule of thumb is typically what I'll do is turn on my filter for my ads manager for the last 3 to 4 days and look at what's been working and what's not, and turn it off the things that aren't working. So even if overall on lifetime this ad set has a 10 ROAS, it's been killing it, but you look in the last 3 to 5 days and it's unprofitable with a 1 ROAS and just burning money, I would turn it off. It might look cool on lifetime with a good ROAS, but it's not working anymore, so there's no point of keeping it on, because there's so many other things you can do with your ads to replace that profitable ad set and bring in some more profitable sales. So stage 2 here is, let's say you just have random profitable ad sets throughout all 3 of your campaigns, or maybe just one of them is working, but you're making sales, but they're just pretty random with your ad sets. So the first step that I always do is, every day continue to turn off what's not working, obviously. Just turn off the unprofitable ad sets. But for what is working, just keep it simple. If you're making a few sales, maybe 1 or 2 sales, and it's profitable, just start off by duplicating that profitable ad set, and don't change anything, and just add H1 in the name. So that just means horizontal 1. This is just what I do. So if it was a no interest ad set, I would duplicate that and then do -H1 and then publish it. So it's literally the exact same ad set, but it's just a little horizontal scaling strategy just to get things moving a little bit, so it doesn't stay stale. Facebook likes to see you continuously working on the ads manager. Spending money obviously is what they want. But I know it sounds a little cheesy, but the more time I feel like I spend on the ad account, the better results that I see. The next thing is launch new interests similar to what's working. Cold is gold. So you always want to have cold traffic coming in, whether your store is doing 100 a day or 10,000 a day. I always like to have some cold traffic running, just because that's bringing in more traffic and sales, from a new audience that doesn't already know of the product most likely. So just launch new interests similar to what's working. So again, if it's no interest that's working, I would just duplicate it, like I said here, in a horizontal ad set 1. But as far as right here to launching new ones, if it's like OtterBox, I would just look up, a few other phone case brands in that general area and launch those as interests. So again, turn off the ad sets as they become unprofitable. And right here is a big one. Don't get cocky. A lot of people mess up their ads very quick just because they try and scale super quick without really knowing what they're doing. So I highly, highly suggest you watch this entire video and learn about every little situation and things that I run into when running Facebook ads, so you know what to do instead of just going from where we're at right now after this cold testing campaign and just trying to do your own thing. The cold testing campaign may get you sales, but if you don't know what to do after that, it's going to mess you up and you're really not going to know what to do. So wait for your profitable ad sets to continue making some more sales before moving to stage 3. So this may be a week, but you're just continuously doing some small edits in the cold campaigns and continuously getting several sales. But once you have some consistent profitable ad sets, we're moving here into stage 3, and you want to continue managing your 3 campaigns daily. You may only have 1 or 2 campaigns running, maybe all 3 hopefully for you, but typically out of that triple shot strategy, you'll see one creative really work the best. But that's the whole point of it, testing multiple creatives and seeing which one is going to work the best. So what I do once I have some consistent profitable ad sets in my cold campaigns, I use this very, very simple CBO strategy. So pretty much what I do, let's say I have this ad set right here spending 20 a day and it's been profitable and has 5 sales. What I'll do is duplicate that ad set 3 times into a new campaign, and then set the CBO budget, turn into a CBO, make that budget 3 times the original ad set. So if that was a $20 a day budget on the ad set, I would make it a $60 a day CBO campaign. So it's very simple. I don't know why it works, but it does. You're pretty much just spending more money on the original targeting that was working for you. So this is for a cold campaign, and the CBOs may work off the bat, but Typically, my cold campaign CBOs don't work very long compared to my lookalikes and scaling strategies we'll get into here, but it works, and it's just a way to spend more money and get more results. So obviously, you don't want to do this unless it's an ad set that's been working consistently and making you profitable sales, because you're ramping up the budget by 3 times. But it's something that definitely does work. So I would try your top 3 ad sets after you get to this phase in stage 3, and just see which ones work. So if it spins close to your margin, you can turn it off if you want to be careful. But typically, I like to let my CBOs run for at least 2 days before I turn them off, just because that allows it to optimize a bit. CBOs are different than ad set level budgets. And the next step here in stage 3 is to begin breaking down your ad sets. So once you have ad sets with 10 or more sales, that's when I start to break down by age, placement, and gender. So only those 3 breakdowns just to start off with, because it's only 10 sales. So pretty much what this means is, if I have an ad set that's made 15 sales here, what I'll do is break it down by age and see which age demographics working the best and has the most sales and is the most profitable. So typically I'll just have a little notepad, be listening to some music. I'll write down, all right, this ad set here, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, whatever the ages are, and just write down the ones that have multiple sales and are profitable. Same for placement and gender. So then what I always do is, let's say I have 5 breakdowns I've written down here on my notepad. What I'm going to do is duplicate that original ad set 5 times and then edit each of those duplicate ad sets based on the breakdown. So, I'll edit that first ad set so it's only targeting 35 to 44, the second one only female, second one or third one only male, whatever the breakdowns may be. I don't combine them. Again, I leave them all separate just because we want to be able to spend as much money as possible on this specific targeting while bringing in the best returns as possible. So by minimizing, if you do it, all right, only 35 to 44, male, manual placement, Instagram feed, it's only going to be spending money towards that one individual breakdown, well, all of them, and it's not going to be able to spend as much and last as long compared to having them all separated individually. So this stage 3 process it's a very rinse and repeat process that's applicable to literally every ad set that's working for you. It's really what I recommend, but we'll get into more breakdowns here in the scaling soon. But now we need to get into the rich retargeting, because when you're running ads, whether you have a good conversion rate on your store or not, not all of your traffic is going to actually buy. But you don't want to let that go to waste, because retargeting is typically, one of your better, most profitable campaigns, I would say. Literally a campaign in that ad account that I showed earlier in the videos, it's made over 100 grand just in a simple retargeting campaign using this pretty much exact same strategy. So pretty much what you need to do is, step 1, make a new product image or video that you've never used. So it's never been seen, you've never run ads with it, it's brand new. And what you're going to do is make these custom audiences. So all you have to do is go to your audience section in your business manager, create audience, custom audience, and then choose this event type, page view, and then a 30-day period, view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, and purchase. So pretty much these are just all the funnel steps to actually buying. Now, retargeting is known to be one of the things that's maybe going away with your custom audiences and stuff here soon with the Facebook changes, but we'll really just have to wait and see. And obviously, if something does change, I'll make a video to keep you guys updated on my current strategies that I've been using. But after you have these audiences made, I want you to create a campaign, and you're going to be doing low budget ad sets. So even to start off, it really doesn't matter at all on what daily budget you typically use. I always start off probably with just $5 a day budget on these audiences, because they're going to be smaller audiences, and it really just depends on how much traffic you're actually getting to your store daily. Sometimes you won't even be able to spend that full $5 a day budget, especially on some of the more detailed ones here. So pretty much what I'm doing, this will all tie in right now, is you're making an ad set where you have your individual ad sets where you're just excluding one another. So you're going to be targeting, for example here, page view 30, excluding view content 30. So in your ad set, in this new campaign, you're going to have your first ad set being page view 30, excluding view content 30. That's literally what I would name the ad set itself. So you put in your custom audience, include page view 30, and then you choose exclude view content 30. So it's only going to be targeting people that went on your website but didn't actually click on anything or go to a specific product page. So this audience is typically one of the bigger ones. So it'll be able to spend the money, but we're just pretty much reaching the people based on the event types that didn't engage to the next funnel event. So, view content, add to cart, and so forth. So In this actual ad itself though, this is a brand new ad, and the reason you're using a brand new ad that's never been seen is because you've already reached these people with an ad and they didn't buy from your store. So pretty much what we're doing is just reaching back to them with an ad they haven't seen, so it hopefully catches their attention and brings them back to hopefully buy it on your store. So the way we're going to get these customers to change their mind is by using a discount incentive in the actual ad copy. So, I would make, a 10% off code or 15% off code and put that in the actual ad copy itself as a call to action. So people can go onto the website, use that discount code as an incentive, and retargeting, you'll typically see a pretty high ROAS. So retargeting can get super fancy. There's a lot of different things you can do, especially if you have multiple products in your store. But you can even do video views if you're using a video ad, excluding page view, and so forth. There are a lot of options that you can do, but this is going to be your best bet just to get started and spending a little bit of money on retargeting. So now let's get down here into the fancy stuff, the skyrocket scaling. So this stuff isn't even really the fancy stuff, I would say. These scaling strategies are very basic but work very well. This is literally the exact strategy I used to take this store here from a couple of grand a day to over 10 grand a day consistently. So we're going to go through all of this, and then even after the skyrocket scaling, I have a few bonus strategies I'm going to share with you guys. So we'll get into that here in a second, but let's go ahead and just get started with the skyrocket scaling. So in this stage, this will be fueled by pretty much all pixel-based lookalikes. That's what I love to use. I know some people like to make a custom audience and then make a lookalike off of that, which can work well, if you're using specific time frames, but I see much better results and longevity out of pixel-based lookalikes because the pixel is, pretty much the AI that's running all this and making this happen for your ad account in your store and making these sales. So, the pixel is sort of like the brain. It's what's, getting you everything. So why not use that as the source itself? Even if your pixel doesn't track super accurate, it's going to help you a lot by using these pixel-based lookalikes to actually scale your store. So after you've been doing some cold targeting for some while, you're getting consistent sales, you're ready to move on to the next step. You're going to have some data on your store and we're ready to move on here. So what we're going to do, again, ad set level budgets, start this first campaign where you're building your base, and what we're going to start off with is pixel view content lookalikes. So all you got to do is, again, go to your audiences and create custom audience, and then create lookalike audience, choose the pixel as your source, and then it'll show by default purchases. You just click to the right and it'll show the other events, view content, add to cart, all this stuff. But we're going to start off just with the basic view content and then build our way down that as we go. And one thing I have here is when you create these audiences, don't separate the percentages. So when you're making these, it'll show you can do an option where it chooses, all of them, but they're all separated. So each audience is, like 2.4 million. But I always start mine, 0 to 1%, make that one. Next, go to 0 to 2%. Next, go to 0 to 3. So it'll be a little bit more tedious and take a little bit more time to make. But the audience size is going to be bigger, and they will overlap. That's the main concern with that. But I tend to see these audiences last much longer in just the ads in general by using these where they're not just separated individually. So what we're going to have here is you're going to have your 10 custom audiences, and you're going to make the campaign with 10 ad sets. Again, no breakdowns whatsoever, and then you have that one ad under each ad set. So as far as the ad you should use, just use the one that's been working best in your cold campaigns. So put that ad post ID under that ad set, and your first ad set will be 1%. Pixel view content, so just copy literally the name of that audience and put it as the name. Again, back to organization, that's what I like to do, so I can see everything and know exactly what I'm looking at all times. So then I would publish that campaign, and then you duplicate that original ad set 9 more times, and then again, it's a tedious process, but you're doing 2% to 3, 4, 5, all with the same ad under each ad set. And that's the beauty of Facebook ads is, the main piece of this, all of this tied together, I would say, is the ad creatives. Because, if you have the pixel view content campaign working really well with one creative, cool, duplicate the campaign, switch the creative, and see if you can get similar results. Because the more creatives that you have that work well, the more sales that you can bring in consistently. So now right here, this little note I have is continue to treat your ad set level budgets as your base and follow the strategies. And remember always to turn off what's not working in the last several days. So these little steps that I have right here are very, very similar to stage 3 in the cold targeting, where if you have, your 1% pixel view content is working really well, getting you consistent sales, duplicate it 3 times, again, into a CBO, 3 times the budget, and then continue to do your breakdowns, by age, gender, placement. You can get a little bit more fancy with it, but you need much more sales, to be able to do that. And as you continue to do that, I try not to move too quick. After you have your view content ad sets running, let them run for a couple of days. After you see results, try a couple of CBOs off of a couple profitable ad sets and continue to break them down, because if you move too quick, you can just be testing so many things at once. And this is where people start to get a little bit messed up. Because I actually have a mentorship student right now who came to me spending like $8,000 a day with like an average 1.8 ROAS. So spending so much money on ads, but just so much stuff going on, high budgets here, random stuff here, different ad accounts running at the same time. It was just a big mess. We've started to help tone those ads down and seen the ROAS jump to about a 2.5 now, but spending just about $5,000 a day. So, that's a big number, especially to be doing consistently. That's typically not what we see. We have mentorship students come in that are very new to it or making minimal sales. And, we just have my team and I come in and help them, get to whatever goal that they have. So if that is something that you're interested in, you can always just shoot me the word mentorship on Instagram. We'll chat. I'll ask you a few questions and see if it makes sense. But, I've started to implement this new mentorship program with a team, some of my top students. One of them named Hugo, who's done several $100,000 a month consistently this year on an e-com brand. And that's super cool to see. And, I want to bring in more students and make success stories. So just DM me the word mentorship and we'll go from there. But back to this, it's a rinse and repeat process. All these things that we're talking about here. So eventually you'll start launching your next pixel events, the add to carts, 1 to 10%, initiate checkouts, and then purchases eventually. But one thing you need to keep in mind is that you want to make sure that you're getting all these data points covered before you can actually make these lookalikes, because to make the lookalike based off the pixel for any of these events, especially purchase, you have to have 100 of those events fired for one specific country. So for example, to make pixel purchase lookalikes, you need to have 100 or more sales fired within one specific country. So let's say the United States, for example, to actually be able to make that audience. So you just want to sort of move gradually with it, keep an eye on everything, turn off what's not working, and continue to do your breakdowns and CBO campaigns. And this can go from 0 to 100 super, super quick. This process, like I said before, literally took the store I was working on from a couple grand a day to over 10 grand a day consistently, just by using these pixel events with a couple different creatives. So you can spend a lot of money quick, but you can also make a lot of money quick. You can also lose money quick if you don't pay attention to what you're doing. So organization is a big piece of success to Facebook ads, in my opinion. So a couple of the unwritten skyrocket scaling rules that I wrote down here are: use the new lookalike targeting expansion box. So similar to the one for detailed targeting, for cold targeting that you're doing. This is a new box. I haven't really noticed a huge difference with it yet, but I've made sure to always have that box checked. And I've seen the longevity of my ad sets for the lookalikes, pretty similar right now. It hasn't been long enough of a, me being honest, just testing it, I haven't seen a huge difference. But I would definitely recommend it, just because I feel like it's a very similar process to the cold targeting. It's definitely not going to hurt you. Again, one creative per campaign. And if things get stale, always try a new ad creative. That's the easiest thing to do. And one thing you can do when you're scaling, before you get into some of these other things, is you can test similar products with the data that you have. So, you have all these ads running for pixel view content, add to cart, initiate checkout, purchases, all this stuff. You're getting all these sales. What's stopping you from, using the data you have for this one individual product to test similar ones? You have all this data, you might as well put it to use. You're spending money on the ads anyways. And, if you have 2 winners, boom, now you just follow all these strategies again, but for an entirely new product. And, typically though, what I mean here with use your data, I wouldn't really do cold targeting just to start off. I would start off, using some types of pixel-based lookalikes and go from there. I would say whichever event works best for you. Sometimes you'll see view content work the best, sometimes purchase. It's really pretty random. You would think that purchase would be the most valuable audience, but honestly, that's really not the case most of the time from what I see. And you can continue to use your CBO campaigns like they are ad set level budgets, but I only recommend this, once they have a lot of sales. I would say, 50 plus sales, 100 plus sales, more towards that range than, just 10 sales alone, because CBOs are typically higher budget. You don't want to drain out the audience super quick. I'd rather go for longevity and consistency. But go here, treat them. You can break them down, all that good stuff. You can try higher budgets. One little thing I'll just throw out here that I've tried a lot is, when the store was doing 10K a day, what I did was I just went to I clicked on all my ad set level budget campaigns, went to ad sets, sorted them by purchases in the last several days, and then just clicked the recent 20 of those best ones and put them into a CBO like 400 a day, just something completely random. And Facebook will tell you, and I believe it, that you'll get the best longevity and performance out of having 2 to 3 ad sets within a CBO campaign. But this one with 20 ad sets, put at 400 a day, and it worked, I would say, for about a week. And then you could just try it again with new ad sets that have been working for you. So it's just a way that if you start spending another 400 a day and it's a 3 ROAS, that's an additional $1,200 a day in revenue coming to your store and just more profit without really doing anything too fancy. But now that we've gone through most of the framework, pretty much everything, this is literally everything I've told you here is my A to Z blueprint on this is what's taken me to 10K a day just in the last several months here. These exact strategies that I'm talking about, keeping it very simple with organization, multiple ad creatives, and pixel-based lookalikes. Those are the main things that I do. But there are a few bonus strategies that I do want to get through here and show you guys that are a little bit more fancy, and I would say down the road once you're making some more consistent sales. But let's go ahead and just get to it. The first one is TOA targeting. So what this means is time on ad account. So typically your ads are just running, if you have a normal budget of a CBO or ad set level budget, they're just going to spend throughout the day entirely, and they're not really running at a specific time. They may deliver a little bit better at a specific time, but they're still spending, and you're spending money on times that aren't really working. So why not make ads that spend only in the times that work best for your ad account? So for this stage here, I just want you to try it out with an ad set first, not a CBO campaign. Go to an ad set that has 50 plus sales and break it down. It's in the breakdown tab by time of day on the ad account. So do ad account specifically, or you can do the user's time zone, but the data is much more, I don't know the right word, aggregated by using the time of day on the ad account. It'll just be a lot easier for you. So you break it down by time of day on ad account. Again, I break out my notepad and I look at the time frames. It's in military time, so if you don't know, you can just sort of put it in Google and figure it out. But go through there and just see, what are the main time frames that you're seeing that are getting the most amount of sales and are the most profitable. You may have some time frames that are getting sales but aren't very profitable, so I choose the ones that are profitable, and then I write those down, those specific time frames, and usually you want them to be like 2 to 3 hour frames. If you make them too small, Facebook won't allow it, and sometimes, especially if you have a high budget, it'll just spin it super quick and not get you the results you want. So choose, a few different ones, separate them. So then what you're going to do is duplicate that original ad set. We're going to be changing it to a lifetime budget. So you'll be able to set this to a lifetime budget where you normally put in your budget and schedule, and you're just going to change it to a lifetime. It's going to set from the day you're launching it to 30 days in advance. So you want to just do 30 times that original daily budget. So if it was a $10 a day budget, you would do a $300 lifetime budget. So it's going to spend that. It's supposed to spend, an average of 10 a day throughout those 30 days. Sometimes spends more, sometimes less, but that's typically how I'll set it up. And you change it to a lifetime budget, and there'll be an option of run ads on a schedule or run them all day. So you choose a specific schedule. This is something a lot of people don't know about, but you choose it as a specific schedule, and you're able to just click on and highlight specific time frames. So there's going to be a lot of options there of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the specific times, but I always do it just based on overall for every day. So choose the hourly time frames, and as you get more and more sales, you can start getting more specific with the timing based on the day. But this is just how I started off, time of day. And if you have CBOs that get over 100 sales, you can do the exact same thing. But just remember, you always have to set the schedule and the ad sets itself. So if you try this with a CBO, you're going to have to set the CBO to a lifetime budget and then go into the ad sets and set the schedule itself. So this last strategy I have here is called the empty sales strategy, where we're taking advantage of the Facebook AI and its power by using literally no targeting at all. This is going to be very, very simple for you. Once you have some sales in, go to your ad account overview. So you'll just have to go to your left and click on the overview, and you're going to be able to break down your ad account by region and see which regions overall. So if you're targeting the United States, it'll show you the top states performance-wise for you, and choose those top 3 regions based off of the volume and profitability. Most of the time I'm looking at profitability. Volume really doesn't matter as much, I would say, but you want to choose ones that are like the top volume and top profitability. Even if you have one region that has 5 sales and has 20 ROAS, I would much rather use one that has 100 sales and 3 or 4 ROAS. So choose 3 of those, and then you're going to create a CBO campaign at $100 a day with 3 empty ad sets. So no targeting at all, no breakdowns. You're literally only setting them so that each region is separate in each of those ad sets. So you'll have one ad set targeting, let's say, North Carolina, where I'm at right now, my parents, and then one Florida and one California, and then schedule and publish that campaign. So there you have it. That is my no BS Facebook ad strategies all laid out there for you to utilize and make sales and get your store to success here in 2021. You know, I have a lot of things I want to accomplish this year, and one of those things is helping you guys make more money and getting more students into my new mentorship program with my team and I, where it's pretty much like an accelerator where we work together and, you know, get you from point A to point B and so forth, getting you towards your goals. So again, if that's something you're interested in, just shoot me the word mentorship on Instagram and we'll be in touch. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, there's no ads on this video. I'm not making money off of it. So I truly just want you guys to watch this video, learn from it, utilize that information, and keep me updated in the comments how these strategies work for you. If you have any questions about what I talked about here, and I will see you guys here more into the new year. And again, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a big like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.